we were taking over Texaco. And I'm telling you, these stories are funnier than the jokes you can tell. Because this really, I'll give you another one that really happened. And I talked to this guy today, he said I could tell it. Texaco, if you remember, was a big company. It is a big company, run by guys who, shall we say, I'm still friends with them, so I'm not going to say anything bad about them. But it wasn't, they weren't Wall Street savvy. And they went in, and they went out, and they bought a company called Getty Oil. But the little mistake they made was they bought Getty Oil after Getty had made a deal with Pennzoil. But in fairness to Texaco, there was no real deal with Pennzoil and Getty. It was never even memorialized. It was never even memorialized in a contract. So what happened was, a guy named Joe Jamil, who's a strike suitor in Texas, goes and sues him for tortious interference. Well, all the great lawyers you have in New York, Scandalous, say this is ridiculous, and Scandalous fucked up. And they didn't, and I'm going to tell you, they didn't put the thing in Delaware, where it should have been. They should have put the deal in Delaware, they didn't put it in, the case was ridiculous. So then, Jamil, who's a great strike suitor, great strike suitor in Texas, and in Texas you don't want to get sued, I'll tell you that, because half the guys are relatives of you on the jury, and you're all buddies, a bunch of Armenian guys, and then, they're going to do whatever the hell you want. So this is what happened, and it worked out great for me and Joe Jamil. And this is a true story. Jamil sues him for billions and billions of dollars for tortious interference. Now, what happens is that Texaco now is down in Texas, and along goes Wachtell Lipton, and they screwed it up more than Scandalous, because they go down there and they're wearing all these nice suits like I am. I should have wore a goddamn old shirt or something, but so they go down there. And they wear the suits. And they said, we're not going to dignify this case. And Jamil loves that, because his jury are all his cousins and stuff up there with all those. And so Jamil loves that stuff, because now they have this case, and they're going on and on and on. And Jamil says there's great damages. It was great harm to Pennzoil, because they didn't get Getty. Now, Pennzoil was worth $1 billion then, or $1.5 billion, and Getty, $2 billion. So now, Wachtell gets up and says, hey, we're not going to even dignify this. We're not going to talk about damages. So Jamil says, that's very good. He says, if you're not talking about damages, I'll say what damages are. $12 billion. The jury comes back and says $12 billion of damages. So now Texaco got to pay $12 billion. They don't have $12 billion. It's a great company. The stock used to be 60. The stock goes down to 25. And I buy all the stock I can buy, because I figure somebody got to sell this goddamn thing. So I buy all this stock. And now I own all the stock at Texaco, and it was a brilliant moment for me, one of my happiest moments, because in walks into my office, whatever the hell was in February, in my office walks in Joe Jamil and Hugh Litke. Hugh Litke weighed about 300 pounds, Pennzoil guy, and they go, and here's how Jamil comes in. You can sell a goddamn plane, because Jam Kanaya won't talk to me. I said, well, I can understand why. He owes you $12 billion that you're stealing from him. And Licker said, I told you can't talk to this man. And I'm looking, I'm saying, he said, we got to have $12 billion. And I look at him and say, Joe, look, I own a lot. You own our stock. You own Texaco. You got to handle it. That's what he thought. He's the greatest lawyer in the world, this guy. You got to handle this, Carl. And he's sitting there. And Ricky looks, I said, no way you're going to get $12 billion. They ain't going to give you 12. They don't have $12 billion. They're not going to give it. And I had talked to Kinnear, and Kinnear says, I won't talk to those guys. I don't care if this company burns up. I don't care if we blow the oil up. It's like in the Middle East. I don't care. We ain't giving them 12. We're not giving them anything. So finally I talked. I said, Jim Kinnear, I said, you got to do something. So behind the scenes, I got him to say, well, you know, maybe I give him $3 billion, which is unbelievable, right? I mean, for some company that's not even worth $1 billion, they're going to get $3 billion. But meanwhile, these guys are yelling. He said, but they won't talk to us. We won't talk to them. I said, well, look, he comes in, Jamil, and said, I got to tell you, Carl, you got to get this Excel. I can help. You can help us. Because you see, if here was the whole choice for these guys. If the Supreme Court ever heard this case, if the Supreme Court ever heard it, they would have thrown it out. I mean, it was absurd. There was no case. I mean, there was no torture, there was no case. But if the Supreme Court didn't hear it, they owed this guy $12 billion. So this was the beauty. This is beautiful. And I'm buying every share I can buy because I know it's worth $60. And I look at him and I say, I can't help you. I can't get you to. So Licky gets up. He weighs 350 pounds. He gets up in my office and says, I told you this Icahn is as bad as the Kinnear guy. He is no good. And walks out of my office. And Jamil's walking out and he turns around and says, Icahn, I think you and I can get this thing done. Let's you and I go out and have a drink. So I said, hey, Joe, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Where the hell am I going to have, I'm on 6th Avenue. Where the hell am I going to have a drink? This is a true story. Come on, we got to have a drink and talk about it. So I said, okay. So we go out, the place, I was on 6th Avenue then, and we go out to the Parker Meridian. And it's like in a Humphrey Bogart movie, the chairs are on the tables and everything's closed up. And I walk in and say, we got to have a drink. And the chairs are all there, and the head waiter, dressed like this, comes out, yeah, Mr. Icahn, how you doing? I come once in a while. I said, come on, give me a table, give me a bottle of vodka. And let's have a drink. Because Jamil said, I said, want a bottle of vodka. You and I talk like two men. These people aren't men here. I said, okay, Joe. So now we sitting with a vodka, and he's drinking, I'm drinking. So he said, you heard the fat man. You heard the fat man. We need $12 billion. So I said, come on. I said, Joe, you know where you're getting $12 billion. And this is how Texaco was settled. I don't care what books you read. I don't care. This was a settlement. He goes, there's no way. I said, so there's no way you're going to get $12 billion. He said, well, you heard him. There's no settlement here. There's no settlement. Do you understand me? I said, I understand you. And he drinks a little bit. And I said, you're not getting to it. What can I get? Like that. So now I know how to deal. What can I get? And he go, I said, you can get $3 billion. And he looks at me. I'll deliver the fat man if you deliver Kinnear. But when you talk to Kinnear, you're going to spit. Because it's so stupid. I said, okay, Joe, I'm going to get you the deal. $3 billion. And that's how it was settled. But here's what happens. Here's what happens, which was the funniest moment of my life. He's sitting there, and he's talking real loud, and people are starting to come in. It's about 11:30 noon, and he's coming in, and people are coming in and sitting down, and they're looking at him, and he's got one foot on the table, and he's really drinking, and he's really happy. I'm happy, man. I'm happy. $3 billion. I got 20% of $3 billion. I got $600 million. That's real good. And people are looking. So I said, so I'm having a little fun. I said, well, Joe, let me ask you a question. What good works are you going to do with the money now that you got $600 million? He got, good works? He got, why you mean good works? I said, well, you know what I mean, charity, soup kitchens, helping the poor Indians in Texas or whatever. What am I going to do? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. And people are listening now. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy a pussy. And he goes, buy a pussy. The head waiter comes running over. Head waiter comes running over and says, you know, Mr. Icahn, I think you better leave. I said, you're right. And that's it. And I left. And that was it.